Hey, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Free for All Friday. I'm Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks in studio, Tabitha Hassel on the way. June 23rd. Show before the show. We're just finishing up some things here, getting everything ready. We have got a lot to talk about today. Good morning, Kim. Roberta, good morning. Donna, Trish, Lizzie's here. Roberta. I had the equivalent to a minor in Spanish, Lizzie, at Mizzou. I thought about that yesterday since I was there.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Well, I didn't tell you where I was going yesterday?
No, I knew where you were going. I
Oh.
just didn't know that you had a minor in Spanish.
Yes.
I can say about 3 terms in German, but I probably can't say
I took
them
German
on
in
air.
7th grade.
Did you?
But
I just know the bad words. That's the only things I remember yet.
yeah.
I could say them for you, but might not be too funny.
Anyway, I could never, ever. I did classes where the whole classes are everything spoken in Spanish. Directions, everything, homework, you name it, everything. The problem was I could never roll my R's. I could not get my damn tongue.
You couldn't do the R. And that's so important. Did you have a Spanish name?
Guten Tag.
Yes. Guten Tag.
No, Victorio.
Oh.
Well, I had a teacher that called me Victorio.
Nice.
Victorio.
Nice.
Victorio.
Love that. Love that.
Vic Faust doesn't exactly scream Spanish.
No, it really doesn't. It doesn't. My name was Heidi Weiss in my German class.
Well, you look really, really, really German.
And I'm not. I'm more Irish than anything else.
What is your maiden name?
White.
White.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
White. I'm just a mutt. I'm a mutt. I'm an English, Irish, Scotch, French, German.
Well, many of us are.
Yeah.
I get it. Totally get it. Hey guys, thanks for jumping in and sharing the show. We had a quick guess. I've got we got John Ashcroft on. John. Jay Ashcroft.
Jay.
John.
John.
It's the show before the show. We got him on really quick. Tabitha saw, and then you followed it up, Lizzie, which I thought was fantastic. Which, Missouri's getting rid of the presidential primary.
Yes.
And, for decades, Missouri voters have gone to the polls to vote in the presidential preference primary, but that's not going to happen anymore. That was a pretty interesting story.
I thought that was very interesting.
So we're going to have John Ashcroft on in like 3 minutes. So we're going to start the show. I know this is the show before the show. Hi, Kimberly. Heidi Fleiss. Roberta says, I can order 2 beers, please, and ask where the bathroom is in Spanish. Know the important stuff. Más cervezas. 2 cervezas.
Love it. So funny.
Share the show, everybody. We appreciate it. We are grateful for you when you do that. But anyway, it was good to be back. It's been a long, long time. Hold on a second. I'm working with their crew.
This is great. Vic is working with the crew to get him on.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jay is doing everything he can to join us real quick on this story.
That's
I
great.
think he's traveling in the car. So I don't know. I said you can just put the phone down, whatever, just to catch up with you. So
Yeah.
we'll jump in on him in just a second. So I lived in Columbia, Missouri after I graduated. See, I was a color voice of Mizzou Tiger football for 2 years. I did pre and post game shows after I finished playing. So I was still there. So I was going back to Columbia after I graduated, Columbia, Missouri. And then my ex-wife and I got married and lived there while I was a news anchor there. So I was always in Columbia. And then I continued, but I never walked the campus. Even when I was in Columbia doing stories, I never really walked the campus. Even when I was covering Mizzou football or Mizzou basketball, I wasn't walking the campus. I literally walked the campus yesterday for like the first time in 3 decades.
I bet that was fun and surreal at the same time.
No, it effing sucked. It reminded me how damn old I am.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
I'm going, damn. I looked at my son at one point. I'm like, oh, crap. There was a professor talking about attending the university 30 years ago. And I was like, I wonder what that was like.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
And by the way, unless there's some massive, massive, massive problem, colleges are not going anywhere anytime soon. They're just not. And I know we're big supporters of trade here. There's a balance for both. There is. They're not going anywhere. As expensive as they are, as unneeded as some of the degrees are, and we see AI coming, it's going to be a rude wake-up call if the jobs aren't there, because we are so dead set on got to go to college, because forever, that's what we did for decades.
College isn't going anywhere, but I do hope and pray that more people.
Tabitha.
Good morning. I do hope and pray that more people get involved with the trades.
Yeah, we need it. Definitely.
We need it
because look at as an example, look at tax preparers. There are so few people entering into that particular profession that at some point you will not have tax preparers if more people don't get involved.
Yeah,
true.
So many different professions.
Joe, we'll go ahead and start the show, okay, buddy? All right. Welcome into cancelthisshow.com. Happy Friday. It's a free-for-all paranormal, freaky, conspiracy theory Friday. You know, we kind of let it all hang out. We do have some serious side today, but we also have some fun during our 9 o'clock hour. We're going to break it all down when it comes to frequencies. And Tabitha, I hope you had a chance. I want to learn more about fabrics. I know you've brought this up in the past. Are you going to be prepared to talk fabrics?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I heard that fabric that, let's just say, I don't want to give their name. I don't want to rip them right now. The most popular yoga brand that started as a yoga brand, that they have material that they use that's not good for your body.
That way, think about it. When you think about the material, the clothing that you wear, it was once alive, right? And some things, including plants.
Right. This is a conversation that blew Eric's mind.
And materials continue to carry energy.
Oh my God. Anyway, we'll get into it, but we're going to talk about frequency. High frequency, low frequency, what sounds do, how they can help, how sounds can help your plants, how they can help and hurt our bodies, the God frequency, the ghost frequency, how the ghost frequency was all about. The frequency scale. I've been looking at this stuff for a long time.
Frequency and healing,
music, the money frequency. I'm good. I slept to that one last night.
Interesting.
Anyway, we'll get into all of that. We'll have some fun during that 9 o'clock hour. At 8:30, we're going to be talking with Jill Reynolds. This is Cancel This, and we do cancel culture interviews, cancel culture education. We have her scheduled. She really wanted to talk to us about being canceled by a Christian ministry. Very interesting. Lizzie, she reached out to you. Can you give us a quick synopsis of that?
She did. She reached out to me.
And Joe, by the way, let us know when we get Jay Ashcroft tuned in.
She reached out to me and said, I understand you work on a new podcast. Can you tell me a little bit about it? I've watched it several times. And do you talk about people that are being canceled? Does it have to be political? And I said, no, anybody can cancel anybody, right, left, whatever. Well, she feels like she's being canceled in the same industry by someone else that's way bigger and way more powerful in an industry. It goes right along with what we're talking about today in a healing Christian ministry. And he's trying to cancel her, canceled her podcast. And I had one dealing on a previous show where he tried to cancel that particular host because I don't know.
Jamie?
Yeah.
He tried to cancel Jamie?
He did. He was, when I was working with Jamie.
Sorry, Jamie.
No, it's okay. I could tell the story. He sent me a tape during the period of time that he was on, and all he did was trying to record Dr. Eric Naputi because they're very good friends. And this particular gentleman asked Jamie what the hell he was doing. And Jamie, being Jamie, goes, who the hell are you to ask me? The next thing he knew, Jamie was taken out by people that were like big brute guys. And then the police took him out. And so I have that all on film. So when she said
what are we getting into?
Right. Well, this is interesting. Jill has stopped talking to me this morning, where I don't know why she did that, other than on our little ticker thing, it says Reynolds versus Clay Clark Ministries. Like we're saying what's happening.
Right.
And I think she is so afraid of him, maybe that was up there. She's been talking to me for 5 days.
It's all right.
This morning that she's supposed to be coming on, I'm not hearing from her.
That's all right.
But could it be just that it's early?
It could be.
Phone
it
out.
Could be. Absolutely.
It's all
because
and
people say that about me all the time. They're like, I'm supposed to talk to Tabitha, but I haven't heard from her.
But I haven't, and that could be it.
Because I'm on the phone or doing something literally every second of my day.
Yeah,
every second is filled. I hope that that's the case.
I hope it is too.
Yeah, no, I get it. I used to think Eric disliked me and all of us, but
he's busy.
And then we just figured it was Eric.
He's just busy. That's just how
busy.
he is. Yeah, people are people, and that could be what
it
Miss Reynolds is doing too.
Because I used to feel when somebody didn't get back to me or when something was going on that, they just don't want to talk to me, or, this is going on. Oh, they're trying to ignore me. But no, now I see what it's like to be busy. Look at my phone's ringing now. Every second of the day. And there are times when you literally have no seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
like
I've had
no
those
seconds.
Yes.
So we've got her scheduled for 8:30. We'll get into that. We've also got that 9:00 hour, which we talk about. We have some stories we'll get to in just a second. Some fascinating headlines that are going on. We are also waiting on Jay Ashcroft. Tabitha saw an incredible story. No presidential primaries in the state of Missouri anymore. Why does it matter? Why should you care? How can this help? We reached out to the front runner in the gubernatorial race for the state of Missouri, and he accepted to join. So
I'm so happy.
I know. It was like,
excited.
you can call at the last minute. Boom. Yes, I want to jump on. He had a great time the last time he was here. The problem was I think they thought it was a audio call because he was with somebody. So I don't know. So they're working that out right now from the video call.
I was just going to ask if you wanted to go ahead and run commercials, and if he comes in while the commercials are running, let's do
our commercials. It's a great idea, Joe. Pro Joe. We'll do that right now. We'll come back. We'll get with the show. But once again, we got Jay Ashcroft scheduled. Greg Gutfield says he's considering or has considered taking over Tucker Carlson's old spot at Fox. I think he's the only guy, just because he's so weird and off the wall and has a successful show, that could maybe make a footprint. I mean, those are big shoes to fill. He might be able to fill a part of that shoe.
No one can fill Tucker's spot.
The United States has now approved that stuff that Tabitha's been talking about for years. Lab grown chicken. No, thank you. 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 We'll touch upon that. And then I really love this Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg challenge for a fight.
I hope they do it here.
Like a physical fight.
Wouldn't that be great?
Elon, please stop. Don't do this. Do not do this. Zuckerberg has been training his ass off for a long time. Zuckerberg's a badass. I am not kidding. It blew my mind. That dude has transformed himself.
I can't see Elon as being a good fighter. He's kind of pudgy.
Elon, don't. I hope
you can tell he's probably never even seen the light of sun.
His bark is bigger than his bite. We'll go to commercials. We'll come right back. We'll continue this awesome Friday show. Share the show, like, subscribe, all the platforms. Give us a thumbs up and make sure that we go to as many people as possible. We thank you for sharing the show. We got a great Friday here. Vic Faust, Tabitha Hassel, Lizzie Sparks running the chat line, and of course, Pro Joe on the boards. Back in just a moment.
House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during our solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
Jonathan, what does make Rockwood so special?
Rockwood, we carbonize it higher than anybody else does. So we're cooking out everything that produces ash, smoke, anything like that. It gives you a lot more control over the temperature, a lot more control over the fire, and it's 100% Missouri product.
All right, where can people get it?
It's at 100-plus locations around St. Louis, any Deerberg, Straub's, meat markets, wine and cheese stores, hardware stores, you name it, we're around St. Louis. Just check the website.
And good charcoal should be able to break apart in your hands like
absolutely,
Rockwood does,
yeah.
right?
If you can't break it apart by hand, it's not charcoal yet. It's still wood. They didn't do the job, so make sure it can break apart by hand.
All right, get your Rockwood charcoal.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Attention, anyone who served, lived, or worked at Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987. Camp Lejeune's drinking water was dangerously toxic, and base personnel and their families have since suffered cancer and other illnesses. If you or a loved one spent time at Camp Lejeune and were diagnosed with cancer, you may be eligible for significant compensation. Call the Driscoll firm now. Consultations are free, and you won't pay a fee unless we get you the money you deserve. 1-800-805-4800.
Hey guys, welcome back into cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel. Lizzie Sparks in studio taking care of the chat lines as she always does, the live chat on multiple platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, Cloud Hub, Twitch, Twitter, you name it. Of course, we're Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time on cancellthisshow.com. Missed seeing you guys yesterday, Tabitha and Lizzie. I tried to listen a little bit. Loved listening to the portions that I could with Steve King from Metro Shooting Supply. By the way, check them out. If you need anything from an ammunition standpoint, an accessory standpoint, just an education standpoint, the gun classes, Steve King, Metro Shooting Supply, they have an office or they have a facility in Bridgeton, which is just incredible off St. Charles Rock Road in the St. Louis area, and one in Belleville that they're redoing as well. It was good talk. That went on and on and on. It was damn good information.
I would have loved to have had him on as long as he could have stayed.
Yeah.
He was wonderful.
Well, you did. You had him on for quite some time.
Almost an hour.
Yes.
Almost an hour.
And it was good time. By the way, we were efforting Jay Ashcroft. He's leading the Missouri gubernatorial race right now. Having a problem with this link, unfortunately. If we can't get him today, we'll set him up for next week regarding a video because we were trying to get him in. He was in a car. They were driving to an event. He's trying to join us. So if he's able to make that link work where it can go, great. If not, we'll jump back in. It was regarding the presidential primaries that have now been eliminated in the state of Missouri. And Tabitha, I wanted you to touch upon it from a standpoint of why this is a big deal, why we should care. Because when I first saw it, I was like, well, you know, I don't know if that's such a massive deal.
It's such a big deal.
But then you've got to talk about it.
It's such a big deal. Okay, so I think many of us, and I've been saying this for a really long time, our votes when it comes to the primary presidential election, they don't count. Your vote does not count and has not counted for a very long time. The DNC, RNC, private organizations, right? They are not bound by government. They're not bound by the Constitution. They're not bound by law to choose the person you vote for. And so now finally Missouri, and I'm so happy for this because I like to see truth in voting. So finally here in the state of Missouri, we are telling people, hey, you in the state of Missouri, you're no longer going to vote in the presidential primary election. So when the primaries come along and you think you're going to go and nominate Trump over DeSantis or DeSantis over Trump, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have that vote because in the state of Missouri, we have delegates that cast the votes for you. Therefore, and what's so funny about this whole situation is we've always went out to the polls and voted in the primary, regardless of the fact that your vote didn't count.
Right.
And I've always tried to tell people it's the illusion of choice.
Yes.
It's like the government is telling you, go out and vote on the primary. You have a choice in who the nominee is going to be. And I am so glad. I am so glad that here in the great state of Missouri, that we no longer have to go out and vote for absolutely no reason. I mean, they're finally telling us your vote doesn't count. It hasn't counted in a long time. So we're just not going to hold a primary election anymore.
Well, it is interesting. We saw what happened to DNC. You brought it up so many times. I mean, Bernie Sanders probably should have had the nomination to go face Donald Trump in the election. And that didn't happen. That didn't happen when Donald Trump ended up winning that over Hillary Clinton. Hillary was given the nod, even though we all know now it was Bernie Sanders who should have won the nomination.
Right. And they admitted, the DNC admitted in a court of law, we are a private organization. It doesn't matter who you vote for. We choose whoever we want to choose. And so I'm really curious, really, even the delegates, how much does their vote even count?
No, it makes you wonder. That's for sure.
It does make you wonder. And Tab, just to clarify, you're not saying it's necessarily a good idea. Because someone on the chat line says, you think it's a good idea. They don't do that.
No, I think it's a good idea. They're telling us the truth.
Correct. I just wanted to clarify
I think that we, the people, absolutely should have the right to vote for who wins in the primary. But it's always just been the illusion of choice. You go to the poll and you cast your vote. And it means absolutely zilch because those votes mean absolutely nothing. And I'm so thankful that we're just telling people the truth.
The truth.
I'm thankful about the truth.
And if we get the gubernatorial candidate for the Republican side, Jay Ashcroft, if that link works, we'll get him back in. If not, we'll just go on. We'll grab him again. He already said he had so much of a good time here when he was here 2 weeks ago. He wanted to join us every month. By the way, the Attorney General as well, Andrew Bailey, will join us next week. He was going to join us this week, but he's been in D.C. all week. So he was posting pictures. They told me they were going to be in D.C. working on some issues. And he and Josh Hawley are really, really good friends. And this blew my mind. Josh Hawley was Andrew Bailey's law professor at one point in time.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Josh Hawley was teaching Andrew Bailey in law. Go figure. The connections are everywhere. So we'll continue to follow that. Coming up at 9 o'clock, during our 9 o'clock hour, you won't want to miss this, the frequencies, the meanings of sound, how they can affect your body, both low frequencies, high frequencies, and what each frequency can do, because this whole universe is about frequency. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the true meaning of the universe, it all starts with frequencies. And it's something that caught my attention about 5 months ago. So I'll see something here, see something there. We'll break it down. Plus, Tabitha took it to a whole new level, as she always does, when she's like, yeah, check out your fabrics. Your fabrics have energy. And I was like, uh-oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait until we talk about it.
We'll get into that coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. We are scheduled for a cancel culture interview at 8:30 with a Jill Reynolds. We'll see what happens with that situation. Drama Central. It's a Friday. Tabitha didn't hear from Jill, so she started to worry that maybe she backed out after we promoted the fact, because she said she was canceled by a Christian organization, and she is a Christian herself, and she was very frustrated. So, if somebody's going to go out and make that a public issue, something bad must have happened.
Correct.
On the back end of that.
It could be. It could be maybe Clay Clark reached out and said, what are you doing, lady?
Yeah, and I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, we'll keep you posted on that. We were just talking about the presidential primaries in the state of Missouri eliminated. Something else Tabitha's been talking about for quite some time. And I don't want to say it, quote, angers me, but I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Lab-grown chicken, lab-grown poultry now will be or could be at nations' restaurants, leading and grocery stores. I just hope I can tell the difference between what the hell it looks like, lab-grown chicken.
They haven't worked out the labeling yet. And there are already restaurants across the United States and other countries who are using lab-grown meats.
But this is all
it just hasn't received the USDA or FDA approval yet, but it's already being used because there was a big debate not long ago where different associations were saying, well, are you going to label it? Like grass-fed beef says this is grass-fed beef. Angus says this is Angus. Will lab-grown meat be labeled?
Okay. Anyway, the U.S. Agricultural Department approved Upside Foods and Good Meat. Those are the two firms that have been racing to be the first in the country to sell this. Why are they racing? Do they know something that we don't know?
Of course they know something.
Why in the hell would you be, we got to sell this lab-grown chicken?
It's called the Great Sham.
Americans are going to want it.
It's the Great Sham of climate change. They're creating lab-grown meat because they say in the name of climate change, God forbid those cows release any more methane gas and destroy our world.
One of the main points behind this was what they said is, quote, this is geared to minimize animal suffering. Hello?
Oh my goodness.
Really? And substantially, quote, decrease the environmental implications of catering to grazing, growing animal feed, and dealing with animal waste. That's according to the spokespeople for the lab-grown meat.
Now let's
tell
the truth. The truth is they no longer want farms to exist. They no longer want ranches to exist.
That's the next
because
level.
When the government controls the food supply, guess what? They control the people, right? And why do we want our meat grown in labs? You know how they make this, don't you? They take a couple skin cells from, let's say, a cow, a pig, a chicken, and through that, crazily enough, they can actually make lab-grown milk. They can make lab-grown butter. They can make lab-grown any type of seafood. There is sushi already out there that is from lab-grown fish. And what their big selling point is they're saying, well, this is a better product than the Beyond Meat because that's full of plants and chemicals, whereas this is real meat.
Well, allegedly, this lab-grown meat is supposed to kickstart in D.C. and San Francisco. Okay, you guys have fun with that. You let us know how it goes. I'm sure even if it's terrible and not good for you, we'll get glowing reviews. Oh, 5-star restaurants are using it. Not really excited about the whole situation. Reportedly not supposed to hit American grocery stores anytime soon, which is good.
There's
knocking it off.
But there's hundreds, if not 1,000 now, companies, manufacturers making lab-grown meat. And, they're taking these cells, they're putting them
over
into
150,
fermenting. Is that what it is, 150?
Over 150 manufacturers / firms are now doing this. They're racing to try to get to that point.
And some people say that China's been doing it for a long time. We used to laugh about it. Remember when they had that article that came out and they said, is China using headless chickens? Are they growing chickens in a lab?
And we made fun of that.
And it turns out they actually were making headless chickens in a lab.
Not cool at all.
Because when you have cellular-based meat, when you're growing it, if you stop the growing process early, it's little particles of meat, which could be ground chicken, let's say ground turkey, ground beef. And if you continue to let it grow in this, machine, then it will grow into a full slab of meat. It will never grow into a full cow, but it will grow into a slab.
Dear God. Just when
leave the food alone. Leave Mother Nature alone.
All of it. And we'll continue to follow it, unfortunately, because that's what we have to deal with. Greg Gutfeld says that he thought about taking over Tucker Carlson's old spot at Fox News. He has a super successful late night show. Fox actually offered him the spot. He has not yet done that. He's also participated in The Five, which has been a super successful show as well. He's been a ratings hit. Everything that Greg Gutfeld has done has gone well. He's not my cup of tea, but
I don't personally, he's not mine either, but how do they
But you can't deny the numbers that he has gotten.
But he's not going to fill Tucker's spot.
Nobody is.
So he's a completely different type.
It's just a completely different thing. He's not like a truth teller. That's what we like about Tucker.
Correct.
But he might bring other people to that spot.
He might. He could maybe do that.
He's like a comedian.
Yeah, he is kind of. Yeah.
He's not a Tucker
quirky
Carlson
kind of comedian type guy. And I don't know if I could see him in another role, but once again, Tucker did come out last night with another video, all based on RFK and how he's treated worse by the Democrats than even Donald Trump. And he broke that out. If you want to check it out, it was a longer last night, over 15 minutes. He had been about 10 to 12 minutes, but of course, this morning, less than 12 hours after release, it already had another 12 million views. Once again, confirming that 3 weeks in, this man says, F you, Fox. I'm not stopping to do what I'm doing. You screwed me. You broke the contract, not me. I'll see you in court. I'm going to continue to be the most successful infotainment man in the world. And boy, oh boy, Democrats had to hate hearing RFK be put on a pedestal by Tucker last night. But he really breaks it down. If you have some extra time, check it out, because it may blow your mind how RFK has been treated compared to Donald Trump, just because he's a Democrat blowing the whistle on Democrats. As we've said so many times, people who get canceled, and we focus on that, at least that we've heard from, our gay friends in the community that get canceled because they're conservative. Like, wait a second, you love me because, you know, I feel as I was born this way and I'm gay, but now you want to cancel me because I'm not a liberal? Wait a second. You mean you're not going to be intolerant of me? And then our African-American conservative friends who, quote, get canceled, same sort of deal. And they get treated worse by the Democrats and their own people of their own race because they have a different political opinion. So anyway, RFK, check it out. Super job by Tucker Carlson, again, breaking that down. I know he's busy in those 2 or 3 or 4 days in between each episode to really break that stuff down and bring us the good material he is. Okay. Who would win in a fight in the octagon? Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg? I'm telling you 100% Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
I would bet the little that I own on him.
I have no desire to see that.
And 10 times over. Well, maybe it's just hot air speaking, but Elon was tweeting the other day, and one of the tweets came in because he had said something about Zuckerberg or something with Facebook and not being honest. And a tweet came back and said, be careful. I heard Zuckerberg does jujitsu now. And then Elon Musk responded, I'm up for a cage match if he is. Now, Elon's 51. So he said, I'm up for a cage match if he is again. Well, Zuckerberg responded. He said, send me the location. And he put that on Instagram. That was on Monday night. So he said that I'm up for a match if he is what Elon said. Then Zuckerberg said, send me the location. So Musk said Vegas. He said the Vegas Octagon.
Now, we have to remember that Musk may have a Neuralink that we're not aware of.
What do you mean? How would
he
that
created
help?
Neuralink. I mean, who knows? Maybe
Correct.
He's really like Bionic Man, and we just don't know.
He's got a chip in his head, and the best gamer kid is going to be controlling him.
Well,
Right.
Elon is 51. He doesn't really have a lot of muscles, and I don't know. Maybe he has some sort of martial arts skill that we don't know.
Maybe Todd said he's going to send his AI version of himself.
And that could happen.
Zuckerberg's 38 and he is buff now.
Is he?
Zuckerberg's a badass.
And he's an alien.
Yeah. I always thought he seemed like a white millennial sitting in his basement.
Eli, check him out now.
I'm
Elon
gonna
wants
have
no
to
part
do
of him.
that. Wow.
I'm telling you, Zuckerberg has gotten fit. He's got a lot of time on his hands, and he's been beating bags and beating people and having himself beat up. He's tough. That would be very quick. I'm sorry. I just hope this is all talk for Elon.
I'm with Jay. I think it would be
be over fast.
It would be great if they did something like this for charity.
Yeah.
You know, not like a real fight,
no,
but
this
just
is
something
Elon
fun
said
for charity.
Elon said for charity.
Yeah, that would be. I think that would be a good idea.
And that was the whole deal. Now, The Verge, an American technology news outlet, also revealed that earlier this month, Meta is working on a possible Twitter competitor called Threads. So that's where this all started. And allegedly they're in talks with celebrities like Oprah.
Well, that's a dumb name.
And of course you would say that, Tabitha Hassel. So that's what started
go to
this
the
whole
Threads.
deal.
Yeah.
Go look at my thread. That's so stupid.
We're going to be talking about threads in the 9 o'clock hour with the energy that are in your threads, talking about clothing options. Anyway, interesting stuff that we saw coming out of that. And one other headline that we had to hit before we get out of here, the sad news that happened. It happened after you guys got off the air yesterday. We are a live podcast, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, Monday through Friday, but you can catch all of our original content all the time on our site, canceltheshow.com. Unfortunately, with the mini submarine. And there's one thing that happened with this whole situation, as everybody knows by now, that an implosion happened. But now the Navy's saying they knew
They
about
knew
They
the
knew.
entire time.
What the
Yes,
freaking truck?
The entire time.
Now, I
The
hope they
entire
freaking
time.
called the families at least and said, listen, this is 90%.
I don't think they. I don't think they did.
How can you come out and say that now?
It happened as soon as they lost communication at that 1 hour and 45-minute mark.
Yes.
They said that they picked up sonar that they cannot talk about because it's a top secret program, is that they picked up the implosion. And if it was an implosion, then in fact, that these people would have incinerated immediately. They would have never even known anything happened. It would have happened so fast. But we did yesterday talk about the debris field that was found. But they were saying the debris field was probably just something that came off the Titanic. And now we find out, afterwards that it was actually more than that. And they probably knew all along that debris field. And this was not a debris field at the top of the surface. This was on the bottom of the ocean.
Interesting for our viewers who are jumping in. Aaron says distraction from the Hunter news all week. Stephanie says distraction. Once again, when you have these massive stories, look at what else could be going on right now, because a lot more information is being released about the Hunter, the Hunter Biden situation. A second whistleblower with a commendable history that you cannot poke holes in, now actually finding, and we're seeing tweets of Hunter and Joe sitting next to one another. Now, where Hunter is threatening Chinese businessmen and Chinese officials, you better call me now because my father's sitting right next to me. I mean, now the left can say, well, there's no proof Joe was there. This is a crack addict. This is a whore addict. This guy, hooker addict. This guy's got a problem. And we all know he's terrible, even though Joe Biden said, I love my boy. He's a good boy. I trust him, whatever. I do think it could have been a distraction. How could you not think that when you see these families? If they did not call these families, shame on you. Shame on the Navy for not doing
for
this.
stretching it out, for all of this time.
And the American public. I mean, I prayed for them. You had people praying. It was already done. It was already done.
Yes.
And the Navy did this stuff. But anyway, it is what it is. This is cancelthisshow.com. I still have a problem with people, the memes and the jokes.
I don't know if you heard us. We talked,
50,000.
Lizzie and I talked about Joe talked about the memes yesterday. But one thing that I'd meant to talk about yesterday and I didn't, and we're not prepared to do it now, was the Simpsons.
Yes.
I had that ready yesterday and I completely forgot.
Right. We had
the meme come up on the screen, but we didn't actually talk about it.
Because I told you I was at the University of Missouri yesterday with my son for orientation, and it was a topic with parents sitting there. Everybody's like, oh my God, the Simpsons. But what we couldn't figure out is when the episode aired. I always get those questions.
I know.
Well, when did the episode air? Because we also got duped one time by a Simpsons episode that allegedly aired, but it never did. Somebody created it after the fact and said, oh, look what happened. But it was never really a Simpson episode. So you guys, our viewers and listeners to this podcast are amazing. For our ones that are listening live, if you have any idea, let us know. We'll certainly pass that along for other listeners and viewers right now from that standpoint. But anyway, hey.
Some of the memes were funny. I mean, you have to admit.
No.
I'm not saying it's in good taste.
I didn't think not one of them was funny.
But some of them
But we're all different. We're all different.
A little funny. But yesterday, that's what Lizzie and I were talking about is do people have less empathy because these people were ultra
because people can suck. And when something bad happens or you do, people will try to pile on you. I mean, when I screwed up, people piled on me. Oh, if you have something that other people want, or if you're in a public eye or position, and if you do something that could, hey, paying $250,000 to go see the Titanic, it can seem a little far-fetched for most of us. But
it was a terrible tragedy, and that was our point yesterday.
That's where I'm at.
A terrible tragedy, and we talked about a little bit about it yesterday, and the media didn't help because they kept drawing it out like, oh, they're slowly suffocating, when in fact, like we said yesterday, they would have died from hypothermia long before they would have ran out of oxygen.
Well, this is cancellthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tap of the Hassle. Pro Joe running the board. Did you want to add something before we get to our guest?
I was just going to say my empathy loss is because they signed that waiver and they knew what they were getting into before they got in there.
Yeah.
It is tragic and there was life loss. However, they knew the risk.
But why? Yeah. But why pile on now that they died? That was my point.
Right.
And to your point, Joe, I've heard a lot of people say that too. And I also heard people saying that someone that could afford $250,000, if they knew the demise they could happen, it was going to cost just millions of dollars for the research that other people had to pay for. Those do seem like some valid concerns.
Todd said from the chat line, this was a good point. It's a story that came out. There was a 19-year-old kid that was with his father. The story was he did not want to go.
I know, that's so sad.
And the only reason he did is for his dad for Father's Day.
Yes.
That's really sad.
He did not want to go.
He was scared. And then, of course, reports coming out now that there was also a guy that does documentaries that was going to do one on the Titanic that checked out the actual submarine, the little the submersive, and said, no way. He's like, that has rudimentary controls. It's
made from Radio Shack. They went to Radio Shack literally and bought these things off the shelf.
And said that it was only a matter of time before something happened. So he declined. And of course, now there was an interview on that happening as well.
And all the conspiracy theories around it, the missing ammonium nitrate. I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't even hear that one. Tabitha. This is cancelthisshow.com. We do interviews when it comes to cancel culture, and we now bring in Jill Reynolds, and we appreciate Jill joining us, because if you're in a situation where you're going to contact somebody, something bad has happened. There is absolutely no doubt. And we just try to bring those stories to light. We just try to have conversations. And Jill, who we bring in this morning, Jill, first of all, good morning. Welcome to cancellthisshow.com with Tabitha, Lizzie, myself. If you could, from a standpoint, give us a quick background of you and why you contacted us and a story that you think needs to be out there.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be on your show. And I met Lizzie, and we got talking about a circumstance that happened. I shared it with her. And after I shared it with her, I want to just start with this, if you don't mind, is I got this post that came across last night, and it really convicted me. So before I go into the story, I want to just share this with the audience, if you don't mind. It's a Bible verse, if I can just share this. It says, God makes it clear that he hates those who sow discord among brothers. There are 6 things the Lord hates. 7 are detestable to him: haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush into evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. So that came to me this morning, Lizzie, Vic, and Tabitha, as part of the cancel culture. You know, the cancel culture, I believe, and what's happened to me over the years, is the people who have stirred up conflict in the community. So I want to start with just this, if you don't mind. I was raised personally, and this goes right into the cancel story, in a very dysfunctional home. My mom was considered like the neighborhood whore. And so at a very young age, our family was canceled out in the neighborhood, where parents would not let their children play with us. And so I had that burden as a young child of never feeling like I fit in and belong. And so I wanted to start that story with that, because I think it pertains to what leads to my story right now. And then growing up, you know, just really not feeling like I fit in and belong. Fast forward years later, I was a crack cocaine addict for years, got clean and sober during the Jesus Revolution in California, and became a Christian. But right at the time I became a Christian, I got pregnant with a guy I didn't even know. And so I ended up then being a single, never married mom. And the church I was going to started a young mom's ministry. And my Bible study leader suggested that I be one of the core leaders of the group. Well, the main leader said, oh, Jill can't be part of the ministry team because she's an unwed mom. So again, here we go. Conflict in the community. Let's cancel out an unwed mom. Kind of like Vic and Tabitha, Lizzie, what we were talking about, of someone who might be gay and because they're conservative, they get canceled out. That's what it felt like for me as an unwed mom back in the 80s. So I first wanted to begin with that story. And I really think it has relevance today in you know, all the insanity out there, where people think that gun violence is the problem. And that's why, kids go into schools and start shooting and killing. I really believe it has a lot to do with what I just shared, being the society canceling out kids at a young age, and then they grow up feeling like they don't belong and they don't fit in. So I wanted to first begin with that, if you guys don't mind, if you have any feedback on that, and then go into the next segment of canceling.
No, it's fantastic. You're setting the tone for us, Jill. We wanted to hear your personal story about why you contacted Lizzie. I mean, that's why our viewers are there, our listeners, they want to hear what's going on. And I think you've done a great job of setting up who you are and what cancel culture can do to people.
Yeah. So I wanted to first begin with that. So again, like I said, when I got a hold of Lizzie, I feel inspired right now with all of the insanity going on with the schools to start to do a conference here in Branson, Missouri called Resilient Bravehearts for such a time as this. So I'm a podcaster. I have my own show. I get invited to be on a lot of different people's shows. And so I got invited to be on someone's a really renowned, and I don't want to say who it is, a renowned person's show, and share my full testimony of why God is telling me to do this conference in Branson to help older women mentor to younger women. And my personal on the show, very inspirational. It had 3,000 views in 2 days. One lady personally contacted me and said it changed her life. And then they invited me back for a second show. And then they invited me back for a third show for a segment of it. And so the day that I was supposed to be on the third show, I got a text from the show host saying that I had to call their producer. So I called their producer, and he had just started with them, kind of a rookie producer, just being told what to do. And he said, "Oh, well, I was told by the council that you can't be on our show anymore. And we're taking down your 2 other interviews." And I said, okay. Well, can I ask you, did I say something inappropriate? Because my story's pretty big. I'm a recovered drug addict, codependent, eating disorders, physical, emotional, sexual abuse in my life. Did I say something inappropriate on this Christian program that made you feel this way? And he says, "Oh, no, it's because we heard you were canceled from a tour that's going on around the country. And so because you got canceled from the tour, we feel that you should be on our show." And I said, "What?" I said, "First and foremost, I was just asked not to podcast for a specific reason that had nothing to do with Christianity or sinfulness. I didn't lie. I didn't cheat. I didn't defame someone. It was just a personal thing between me and the founder of the tour. That was all. Him and I get along great. I have no hard feelings towards him. I'm very close friends with them. It was just a misunderstanding between me and him." And I said, "So you didn't come back to me personally as a Christian? We're called to go to our brothers and sisters and sit down with them personally and have a conversation, not just Vic and Lizzie and Tab. Just let's cancel them out. Let's hear a rumor. Let's think we know what's going on." No one even called me to ask me. They just pulled my interview down, which I find interesting because, this is a Christian conference, and I just find it fascinating. And I really just believe that, evil prevails right now. And I just feel Satan just said, "Oh, we're just pulling this down so no one knows about it. We're canceling it out." But it really hurt my feelings because no one had the kindness, and I know these people very well. They didn't have the kindness to pick up the phone and call me or say, "Hey, Jill, let's do a 3-way conversation between you and us and this person leading the tour so we can make sure that it's okay to air your interview."
But I'm curious, and first of all, I'm sorry this has happened to you. Second of all, I hope we didn't screw up. We said a name earlier in the show, and I know you're not trying to call certain names out, but we did say it in the first hour.
She's never said it to me but she knows I know who it is and that I might call it out, but she's not going to call it out.
Well, isn't it important, Lizzie, or is it important, Jill, for people to know?
I don't feel it is for one reason. Okay. And I'm going to say the reason behind it is, just what I just got done saying when I read the scripture verse. And I guess after I read the scripture verse now, because it says a person stirring up a conflict in the community. I'm not one that wants to go around and say, hey, let's diss so-and-so because they just, no. I understand.
Well, then what's the strong message today, Jill?
Well, I think the strong message today, Vic, is if you've got a conflict with someone, if you have a conflict with anyone, go to that person, sit down with them, do a Zoom, do a phone call, don't text them, don't cancel them out. I mean, come on, we're adults, Vic. Let's have a conversation.
Jill, been there, done that.
Do we even know how to talk to each other anymore? Do we really know how? And let's have a conversation. Let's hear, even this person that you're saying never personally called me. They had their operations person call me. So I've never even had an opportunity to talk to the person who canceled me out, and which is hurtful. It's very hurtful.
So a Christian organization canceled your previous podcast because they thought that they heard something poor about you, but had no facts.
And they didn't even know what the facts were. And I'll just tell you what the facts were. Because I'll just tell you the facts. I am a professional certified meeting and event planner. That's my business. I have a company called Brave Art Workshops. And so when I do events, I have to go around and look for a venue to do the event. And so when this event came to Branson, I found the venue for the tour because I know venues in Branson. And I sold $7,000 worth of tickets to the event. And so we needed a bigger venue. So they chose a new venue. Well, 2 weeks before the event, I was looking for a venue for one of my events. So I went around to town to look. Well, just so happened the day of my chiropractic appointment was the day they changed the venue. And my chiropractor's office parking lot mirrors to that new venue. So I was right there and I thought to myself, I'm right here. I should go to this venue and go see if it would be something for me. So I went in, met the event planner and asked her if she could show me their theater. As we walked through the theater, I handed her my card and told her why I was there. But then this is where I was wrong, Vic and Lizzie and Tabitha, which wasn't even wrong. I said, oh, by the way, I travel with the blah, blah, blah tour and a podcaster. This is a great venue. I can see where this room will be good for us to podcast in. And she said, well, do you work for the tour? And I said, oh, no, I'm just a podcaster. And then she said it again as we walked through. So that about 3 hours later, I got called by them and said, were you going to the venue checking it out for us? And I said, no, I was checking it out for me. And they said, well, you don't work for us. You're just a podcaster. And I said, of course I know I don't work for you. Well, why were you there? And I said, because it's my job. I'm a meeting and event planner. And they said, well, that's not good. You were in our lane. You were misrepresenting us. And so you can't podcast anymore. And that was all it was. It was just a misunderstanding of me doing my own personal job. That's all I did.
Well, and Jill, when you called me, and I think I shared it with you, and I shared it on the show just, about half an hour ago, that you're not the only one that this happens to. This particular person that you want to make nameless, but I mentioned him earlier in the show, he does that to a lot of people. He wants to cancel people out. I don't know why he wants to cancel them out. I don't know if it boils down to money or if it boils down to ego or what it is, but it's a serious issue in the Christian community for Christians to cancel other Christians for whatever their reasons are.
Yeah, that's a big message.
That's a big deal.
Jill.
Right. And let me just say something on that. I really believe this is what my belief is. Okay. Because I know him very, very well. I've been to his house. He really is a fabulous human being. I think what it is, he's so busy doing so many things in so many different businesses that he just does not want drama. And so when this occurred and he had heard about it from his staff, It was all hearsay. Everything was hearsay, I believe, because no one ever came back to me. Even when his operations manager called me and said, did you go to so-and-so theater? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, why? And I told him the reason. I said, because I was looking for a venue. Like, I'm doing a conference August 8th, 19th and 20th. I'm looking for a venue. And he said, well, did you say you work for us? And I said, no, because I don't work for you. So I find it interesting. How could you be fired from a tour when you were never an employee? So I was just invited by the founder to be able to be a podcaster in the media room. When he heard that I had gone there, he didn't want any drama. And he said, well, just tell her she can't come in the media room anymore.
And that's where a little bit I disagree with you a little bit, Jill. Him doing that has caused a lot of drama, and he's done it to other people before. He cancels people. There has to be a reason. Maybe it's the sin nature that you were talking about before. There's something in him that is making him cancel other people. When you cancel people, it does cause drama. It causes drama.
And after effects that you may not even realize.
Correct.
Or want. And a lot of times if you try to cancel somebody, it may feel good or right at first, but eventually you live with that and you're not putting yourself up, and it'll come back. And Jill, I know you don't want to say the name. We said it earlier in the show, so I apologize. We did not know that we were not allowed to say that name, but we said the name. So people go back.
It's not worth that we're not allowed to. Are we not allowed to say the name?
No, she just didn't want to because of the Christian verse that she just read.
The only thing
I want to say too, okay? The reason, you guys can say whatever you want. For me personally, I don't want any animosity. I really, truly, and from the bottom of my heart, I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to be like this holier than thou person. I really, really love him, his wife, and his family. I love them dearly from the bottom of my heart. I care about them.
Yeah, but you have to be pissed, Jill, because you came on our show to bring this message.
Well, I'm not pissed. There's a difference between being pissed and completely hurt that hurt and feeling like, wow, I thought that you had more concern and care about me, that you would, I'm just the kind of person, Vic, I'm meeting you for the very first time. If you ever heard something about me and you cared enough about me as a human being, I would hope that you'd get on the phone yourself and not have Lizzie or Tabitha call me and say, Vic didn't like you. We're not going to have you on the show. No. And I'd be like, well, Vic, can we have a conversation about it?
I've lived that life for 9 months. I get it.
And Jill, he should have, since you do know him, and I'm just going to say it's Clay Clark, just because you do know him, he and his family, somebody should have reached out and contacted you personally, because you deserve to have been contacted personally. But my only issue with this person is that I think his organization has gotten so big that he's lost touch with people. And in my prior radio life, I absolutely refused to interview him. He would contact us every week and say, I want to come on the show. I want to come on the show. And I always said no, because he does too many interviews. He's out there too much, too big of a staff. And to me, that's when you start losing touch with the people and you're not doing what you were meant to do for your organization.
And Jill, you called the right place. Both Tabitha and I have had dealings with him on that same level.
What are the chances?
Right.
Because he's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's grown. It's gotten to where it's almost too big and not personal. And I'm not saying he's not a good person. I believe he is a good person. But at the same time, it's just gotten out of control.
Guess what? We're human.
We are human.
And every now and then an attitude adjustment doesn't hurt. I've been there. I've lived it. It's all right. We're not always going to be perfect. We're going to have mistakes and things that happen, but that's what life is about. Hey, you screw up, apologize, you move on. I just want to focus on you.
I think the only reason, it's like, there's a Bible verse that says, take the log out of your own eyes. And for me, I've been one of these people in the past who's judged others harshly, probably even canceled people out myself in life, going through my own crap. And so I know what it's like to hurt other people, guys. And so, I think a lot of it has to do with my own self-inventory and saying, who am I to judge another person? But when it gets to the place that God has called me to do this Christian conference and to get the word out there about it. And then to be on a Christian radio network to let the world know about this event, to help others, and then be told that my show can't be on because of the other circumstances, it just makes no logical sense to me. And so for me, I mean, Lizzie and I are friends on Facebook, and she had posted something, and I just decided, I'm going to get a hold of Lizzie. I didn't even know about your show, Lizzie. And we got talking, and then I found
Jill,
out.
before you go today, how can people learn about your podcast and yourselves? Promote yourself before we let you go.
Okay. Well, my first and foremost, my website is called Braveheart Workshops with an S. And the name of the conference I'd love for you to know about is called Resilient Bravehearts Who Are No Longer Broken, and they're becoming the best you can be for such a time as this. So you will inspire hope, health, and healing in the world. So it's based off of the book of Esther. Queen Esther is playing here in Branson at the Sight and Sound Theater. And so we're doing a conference based on Esther and Titus, where we as older women are called by God to mentor younger women for such a time as this. And guys, the reason I felt so inclined that God was telling me to do this conference right now is because my husband had heard from a guy in his Bible study group that a parent went to a school insisting that the school give their daughter a cat box because she was identifying as a cat.
Oh yeah, we
know all about that. We talk about that, Jill.
Right, and I'm 69 years old. I've got grandkids. And I just said, what is going on that we older women are not coming alongside these younger women? So we're going to have this conference, Vic, Lizzie, and Tabitha, and I just pray that every woman listening will get a ticket, come to Branson, and be inspired, and bring your 12-year-old and up girls. And my podcast is called The Connection Show, Inspiring Hope, Health, and Healing in the World. And you can find it on my website.
All right. We appreciate it. Hey, Jill, by the way, is that your compound behind you? Tabitha just bought a compound.
No, this is actually this is the subdivision, Vic, I live in, called Stonebridge Resort.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
So it has single family homes, villas, condos, lodges. So you guys, you're just all going to come August 19th and 20th to Branson. And Vic, I heard you say your child's going to University of Missouri. So yeah, come to Branson, hang out before school starts, and let your wife come to the conference, and Lizzie, you and Tabitha come, and we'll just have a great time.
Yes, we would.
Jill Reynolds, thank you for being honest, sharing your story. Go back and look at some of the comments if you get a chance. People certainly appreciate what you were doing there from that standpoint. So, hey, God bless you and everything you do. All right, Jill, keep us posted on everything that's going on, or if you have any more stories.
Hey, Vic, I wanted to end with saying that I went to his wedding. They're now divorced, but my roommate in San Diego was Bree Lampley. She was married to Jim Lampley. So when you were talking about Elon and Zuckerberg, I thought, I guess we'll have to have Jim Lampley be the announcer of the fight.
Hey, I grew up on Jim Lampley. Loved the Jim Lampley voice.
Well, I went to his wedding, his second wedding. He's on his third now, but I went to their wedding.
I guess keep trying.
All right. Take care. God bless you.
Jill.
Thanks, Jill. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
What a sweet lady.
It is. It's unfortunate. There's really no need. Sometimes things get too big. And I know this. People will be like, oh, don't have time. If there's any sort of possible drama, just cut it out. Don't go there. Don't do it. Trust me. I've lived it. I know.
I feel like you can't do that. Part of one of my issues, I think, with some ministers, some local, some national, is that they start out for the right reasons, and maybe they still think they're doing it for the right reasons, but they grow too big.
Correct.
Eric,
and they don't, and their reach is too much, and then they need all these people to run their organization.
It's the same thing with rock bands.
Yes,
they start off with the right intentions. They start off with the creativity, and then they get too big for their britches.
No, they become humble, and they're grounded, and they're lovely, and they have ponds in their backyard.
Hey, by the way, the Ramones shirt, that kicks ass. I love it, my friend.
I love the Ramones.
And by the way, when you came in right before we get to go to break,
yes,
Did you see what our subject is for 9 o'clock? Did you
No.
get a chance?
I'm sorry. I'm behind the 8 ball today.
That's all right. We're going to
He's
catch
still
up.
hungover.
We're going to catch up with Eric on his trip to Cleveland to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Platinum Rock Legends. Big event coming up tomorrow night as well.
Is there?
Oh, yeah, there is.
I can't wait.
There's a big event, Eric. We've been promoting you while you've been gone.
Seriously?
Yes,
It's a
for
wine
sure.
bar.
Oh, there's a whole group of people coming to see you on Saturday.
It'll be
Nice.
packed.
Me
It'll be
too.
fun.
I'm coming
It'll be
too.
fun.
Eric, I'm going to be there too.
Yeah. What
I
about
will be out of
Tabitha?
town.
I knew it.
You know why she's going to be
She
out of
hates
town?
music.
Because she
She's-
found out you had syphilis.
Well, the cat's out of the bag. What kind of discussions were you guys having
Lizzie,
yesterday?
where the hell did
Jeez.
this
Well,
go?
that just shows if you guys don't know, you didn't listen to the show yesterday.
That's right.
I
So
am
if you
clean
listened
as
to
a
the show
whistle.
yesterday, you'd have known.
Oh, my
I am
God.
super clean.
And that wasn't just a joke, but
Yeah.
I had to say it. It was a joke.
When
But
I came in yesterday, I said, "Oh, Eric's out this week with syphilis."
I
and it was
drink
very
so much.
funny.
I drink so much alcohol. Germs can't even live in my body.
Hey, when we come back, what I was talking about
Yes.
was the interesting side, the high, the low, the good, the bad, the ugly of frequencies. And this plays into you and your background.
True story.
We're going to explain what happens with high frequencies, low frequencies, the God frequency, the ghost frequency, the money frequency, what Mozart said about sound, what Tesla said about frequencies, what's the Salvaggio frequency.
That would be A440, I believe.
Damn!
443, something like that.
Eric, this is your wheelhouse.
Well, yeah, I play.
Look at that. On a whim. Eric knows
Love it.
exactly. So we're going to get into this. And then Tabitha's also going to add, oh, yeah, the energy that comes from frequency also is in your clothing, which we've talked about before. The fabrics and things of that nature. You won't want to miss it. Share the show. We'll take a quick break. Back with more Projo on the boards. Lizzie running the chat line. Eric's back. Tab's back. Vic's back. The gang's all here. It's Free for All Friday, the Conspiracy Theory Friday, and frequencies and how they play into your life coming up next.
Waited, and now it's here. The unveiling of the latest Carroll House lifestyle collections. I'm Brooke with my sister Amy, inviting you to see 3 football fields of the latest styles.
Our new lifestyle collections are premium quality furniture made exclusively for us and available only at Carroll House.
The attention to detail is unmatched, and so is the value, nearly half the price of a typical gallery store.
Plus, get free financing, delivery, and in-home design. Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Marco, wait. What? No response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixed the cars.
Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with eXp, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com.
As all of you may know, the home of the Cancel This studio is located at the all-inclusive private jet hangar, Strategic Air Services. Founded in Chesterfield, Missouri, they take pride in offering a meticulous approach to private aviation through services that fully manage your trip from takeoff to landing. Strategic Air Services is more than just storage for your aircraft. They offer state-of-the-art amenities to its members and guests. When you are not traveling, you have the luxury of enjoying their world-class gym, conference rooms, lounges, and so much more. Strategic Air Services offers an unparalleled luxury experience for all things private aviation. If you're looking for a new place to call home for your aircraft, give them a call today at 636-400-7601. Again, that's 636-400-7601, or visit their website at strategicairservices.net.
Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road.
Little kids.
Hey guys, welcome back into the show. Cancelltheshow.com.
Yeah.
Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel and Eric Johnson. Lizzie Sparks also in studio now, taking care of the chat lines as she does on multiple platforms. Pro Joe, engineering everything to make it sound as good as it can. Of course, cancelltheshow.com. Share the show, like, subscribe. As always, we appreciate it. Love you guys when you jump in. Special thanks to Jill Reynolds for jumping in and talking with us today. It is a Friday, a free-for-all Friday. Before we get into the whole aspect of high frequency and what it means and all these different frequencies of music, because we've got the expert, Eric Johnson, in. Eric's back. You got to play at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the first time. How was the trip for Platinum Rock Legends, my friend?
Well, you know, it was.
I don't.
Have you ever been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, I have not.
You have not been to the Rock and Roll? Has anybody in this room been to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No, but I'll go when Blink 182 is invited in.
Well, you're going to be waiting about never. But I don't know. It's a cool venue. It has, you have to scour the place. I got lost a lot. I know that. But Cleveland, Ohio is probably the hottest. It's the hottest city in America.
What do you
wow.
mean?
You mean temperature hot?
And yes.
Okay.
And I got a theory about that. And I would love for you guys, if I'm off my, there was barely air conditioning in any place in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow.
It's like the whole city. It's like the whole city was like, all of our thermostats are going to be set at 80 and 80.
Wow.
And we're going to save the planet. That's how I felt.
I've only heard that in Germany. I didn't hear that in Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio has their thermostat set at 80 degrees.
Interesting.
And I can't take it. So I'm so glad to be back.
So that's
in
what
the,
you
in
bring
the air
back to
conditioning.
us.
Yes.
Lack of air conditioning.
Yes.
Cleveland, step to the plate wherever you are on this podcast.
And not to mention, they got the worst baseball team, and they were playing the worst baseball team, the Oakland A's, when we were there. So we couldn't even go see a game.
Did you get to see anything with Eddie Van Halen?
Yes.
Okay. What was that like for you?
It was uplifting. It was very free. It was a lot of frequency going around the room.
Ooh,
a lot of frequency. It was Eddie Van Halen's guitar rig. Yes. I felt.
Did you become misty-eyed? Did you get chills? Did you be like, wow, the amount of hours and time that he put in on that guitar?
Yes, I was. I'm
he's
not
serious, though.
I know he's serious.
I'm not starstruck, but a lot. But when I am starstruck, I get fixated on it, right?
Yeah.
Eddie Van Halen's guitar, because I love Eddie. I think he changed music forever for everybody.
He did.
Every person that we talk about on this show, every rock band was affiliated to Eddie Van Halen if you came after 1980, I believe. So I'm sitting there in front of it, and I just could not get my eyes off of it.
I get it.
You know what I mean? And I kept looking at it thinking, maybe this isn't the real one. Maybe they're pulling a fast one on us.
Could you touch it? Or was it behind a glass case? Then it's probably the real one.
Yeah.
Tabitha, who would be your person that Eric has that relationship in his mind, his heart, his soul with Eddie Van Halen? Do you have somebody?
No. You mean like a music person?
No. Hold. This is a great.
That's a great question.
It doesn't have to be music. It could be political. It could be like a teacher. It could be
Joan of Arc.
Yes.
That would be Tabitha.
If it was musical for me, it would be Tom Petty.
Oh,
okay.
I absolutely love.
I thought you were going to say ABBA if it went music. I was just saying somebody in general.
I absolutely love Tom Petty, and I was very happy that I got to go to his last concert.
Nice.
And I didn't expect him to pass away when he did. It was absolutely heartbreaking.
Okay, that was so. Lizzie, what about you? Are you and it could be George Bush. It could be anybody.
Yeah, well, it's not George Bush. Okay. It was political. It's Donald Trump. for sure. But I think when I was younger, it would have been anybody that was kind of like in disco. But now the older I get, I'm really, really into Led Zeppelin and Ozzy Osbourne.
So you
Truth.
Wait a minute. I got
Lizzie
to
on
hold
the
on.
crazy train.
I got to think.
Love it.
Hold up. I got to just. I'm
While
looking
she's
at.
eating her gummy.
I'm literally.
I don't have a gummy, but I'm not kidding.
I'm looking at Lizzie right now, thinking Led Zeppelin. The song remains the same, and Ozzy Osbourne, "Suicide Solution," and it just does not equate.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you look at
if you knew Lizzie better,
right? If you look at my playlist, you guys would be shocked at what's on it. There's I love everything except for opera. There's no opera on there, but I mean, I like it all. EDM, I like country, I like it all. But like, I go into phases, and my phase right now is Led Zeppelin and Ozzy Osbourne.
You're going to be in Led Zeppelin phase for quite some time.
Because
you don't move away. They're so thick and expanded, man.
Yeah.
That is awesome. This is Cancel This. That's Lizzie, Eric, Tabitha, Vic. It's Free for All Friday.
Yeah.
Paranormal Conspiracy Theory Friday. But while we talk bands real quick, Eric, promote tomorrow night, please, for Platinum Rock Legends.
You guys might know more about it than I do.
Lizzie, can you promote tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, there's a group of...
For our St. Louis area audience, unless our listeners around the country want to get a quick flight into the St. Louis area.
Yes, if you want to get a flight, come on in. There is a place, and I said it wrong yesterday. It's Frankie Martin's, not Frankie Toco's, and it's in Cottleville. And you need to get there early because his concert starts at 7 o'clock. And Cottleville has a pretty big venue there, but it'll be crowded. And you do need to bring lawn chairs because it's an outside venue, or bring your golf cart. If you live in the area, people will golf cart there.
It's a newer venue. It's really cool.
Get there at 2 p.m.
Really cool. Yeah, you want to get there early for sure. And you know it's so great there too. I'm so excited, Eric, because I get to watch you up there, and I get to drink a frozen slush.
Yeah, there you go.
Eric, with or without alcohol?
Eric is a superstar.
Oh, I don't have alcohol.
You know what? For sure.
Now I'm
As our viewer says,
do my laundry.
Our viewer says Eric just shows up, goes where he's told to go, and do what he's told to do, and
that's a great
That's
life.
what the superstars do.
Well,
that's what they do.
That's what bass players.
They don't. They don't. They don't value us any other time. Where's he at?
All right, guys. One of our conspiracy theory or interesting off-topic subjects is frequency, and I started to see this pop up here and there all over the place, and I started to become very interested. And Eric's like, oh yeah, frequency this, high, low. Tabitha says, oh yeah, energy, their clothes. So I started to go back and look at some of the things regarding frequency.
Absolutely.
Now, Eric knows all this stuff. The first thing that blew my mind was when Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, anything about the universe starts with frequency.
Yes, it does.
What? Right. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, first of all, you gotta take it from the simplest aspect. If you hear a bass frequency, right? Women, one thing I learned this way back in the 80s when the women would go sit on the subs. Women used to sit on the subs because why? It felt good, right? It massaged you. It was like shaking you, right? It's a true story. I'm not trying to be...
He's probably not wrong.
I'm not trying to be crass. I'm not trying to be anything. But that's a frequency. That's way down in the frequency.
Yes.
As you start to get up...
I love it.
As you start to move that frequency, the sound wave up, it hits you in a different way. It can actually resonate. That's the word of the day. It resonates, right? It's the thing that made Ella Fitzgerald break the glass by singing the high C. Remember that? Yes. A glass, she hits the high C and the glass pops. Well, why do you think that was? Because the frequency resonated with the glass then became unstable and it could not hold itself together anymore, right?
Right.
Well, if you have those two things, high frequency and the low frequency, and that is just a minimal, I mean, that is a minuscule amount of spectrum as far as audio goes. Imagine being able to spread that spectrum out. Well, the human body is the same thing.
That's what I started to learn.
Yes, it is frequency.
But Eric, you took us to a different spot. Lisa says, oh yeah, this reminds me of the movie Private Parts with Howard Stern with a vibration, so to speak, of sitting on speakers.
Yes, but you can make here's another one. Remember Cuba? There was a machine that could build a resonant frequency that could make the U.S. Embassy employees go crazy. That's the theory.
It's a weapon, actually.
Yes, weather manipulation.
Remember that?
That also. There are countries that use frequencies to cause illness.
That's right.
And they say it can even cause death.
I haven't heard the death thing, but I heard the dementia.
Were you talking about the incident in Cuba?
Yes.
Yeah. And where they believe that the frequencies were used to make some people very serious.
Can't hear them.
Ill.
I've even heard of the brown note. You guys ever heard of
the brown
Just
frequency?
Recently I heard of that. Yes.
Well, it is interesting, Joe. If you could pop up the high frequency scale, which Eric was talking about, it kind of gives you an idea of frequency. Eric knows this more than the rest of us, but at the top of the frequency, you see more positive, good feelings, enlightenment, peace, joy, love, when you see the certain megahertz or the hertz that are played. And then you get down to the lower the frequency is played. And what can happen? Today's music gets played. Some of the, and I'm not picking on it. My son listens to it. A lot of the rap music, Eric, that we hear is lower frequency.
That's right.
Yes.
And it's played at a lower frequency.
And it's darker.
Is it on purpose?
Yes, because they want it to cause anger and chaos.
Look at Soundgarden. You don't hear a lot of high frequency songs from Soundgarden or Tool. It's way down there.
And it's done on purpose. It's
right.
with
That's
intent.
right. It's a little bit more evil sounding to the human. The human condition looks at the lower frequencies as a little bit more evil. You look at the chanting by the Buddhists and the Tibetan monks. That's right around the heart chakra frequency. That's why they do it. The bells. If you want to know about frequency, go look at the Tibetan monks. They have frequencies on everything.
They do.
Bells
and positive frequencies.
Yeah.
Though, which was interesting. So we were just showing you that, but Tabitha brings up the aspect of the negative, the enemies, taking out enemies, so to speak. Listen to this. This is 27 hertz sound. This is played very, very, very low. It is described at causing panic, anxiety, depression, and it affects the brain. This hertz right here. I don't even like that.
Yeah, it makes me agitated. I'm agitated after hearing that.
Tabitha's looking at me with angry eyes. Oh no, that's so sure.
Tabitha's like, that's what my house sounds like. That's the problem.
No, but you know what it does?
That's my favorite song.
I put that on my.
I was thinking about the sound because we do inspections sometimes in our anti-piracy of projection rooms, and that is exactly what a projection room sounds like.
Wow!
Hey, Alexa,
because you hear the big projection machine.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? It's very industrial sounding.
Yeah,
that's why those Well, I'm not going to speak for industrial workers, but
but it's true. During COVID, my husband David had to work in a place that sound was going all the time, and he's such an even-keeled person, and he used to come home kind of agitated.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Did you know that there's also a ghost frequency? Apparently,
no. Let's hear
it.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Well, this is kind of the sound. This kind of goes along with it, but there is most of the ghost frequencies that when I was studying this, you can't hear, or it's the sound of what I'll explain here. I'm going to talk over this as Joe gets it ready to pop up, but there's he's a ghost researcher. His name is Vic Tandy, and he says that the ghost frequency is the noise. And you can go ahead and play it, Joe. I can talk over it, buddy, if you can do that. But he says the ghost frequency is the noise that cannot be heard by the human ear. That can cause a number of terrifying things. Panic, vertigo, even seeing a ghost. Now, the theory was created by Tandy, and he said he was working in a lab that had already been haunted. And he reportedly felt anxious and saw black shadows and masses. The next day, he began to experience poltergeist activity observations all around the lab. He realized that the extractor fan, the frequency was so low, the frequency waves were so low that it called up the ghost frequency, and he started seeing the ghost in the shadows because the frequency was so low.
That's right.
But that's not what we were just hearing.
No, that wasn't. It's some of the lower parts of that song, the low frequency is similar.
So it was mixed in with
the lower frequency that you would hear.
Yeah.
Aaron says we now have to bring a priest in here to exercise this.
No, we don't. No,
we probably should have done that anyway.
We probably should have. I'm thinking we should have for sure.
But it makes you think, what the hell is going on? Those are some of the negative standpoints of it. And then you start talking about what's real, what isn't, what's a good frequency to play at.
Yeah.
And then it's interesting because
in 1970 something, the band Pink Floyd wanted, and this is either urban myth or it's true, I don't know, you guys tell me, in Montreal, Canada, they wanted to play a frequency so low that it would knock out the entire stadium, and then they would disappear. When everyone woke up, the band would be gone.
Holy crap.
Somehow someone
frequency could do that.
Somehow someone figured out that there was actually such a thing. Now, I don't know if they ever pulled it off. I don't know if it's true or not, but when I heard that, I was like, damn. Boom.
But that's
everyone's gone.
See you, sucker.
We only killed 40.
Hey, Joe, we lost Eric's camera somehow, some way, but we can, and I'll wait.
I wouldn't say you lost it. It's fine.
Say you lost it.
No, well, we lost the good camera. Let's just say that. And then you think of, those are some of the lower frequencies, but then you think of music from the beginning of time and what frequencies are most notable artists in the back of the day. The composers would play it. Mozart used, do you know what this one is, Eric?
Here we go.
Oh, 421.
421. That would be, so 440 is an A. 440 is an A. So I guess that would be a G, somewhere in there.
He said it was the frequency of the universe. Mozart says the frequency of the universe was 421.
I think he was a little off. It probably was really 528.
So he was saying 421. And of course, we've got Mozart music to remind people what Mozart played, just in case for new listeners. You can go ahead and play it when you've got it ready to go, Joe. But everything at that sound. Eric?
I'm a piano player, that's for sure. I can do everything on the right.
Robert per to heal themselves.
I did not know that.
That makes sense.
Interesting.
That does make sense. Like
once again, the frequency, the sound.
Yes.
I didn't know.
What is the sound of your girlfriend yelling at you really loud?
Oh my God, that's
way in the weird spectrum.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's anxiety really high.
But
high anxiety.
I think that's
or
when
boyfriend, depending on which one you're at.
Yeah, I think that's the frequency then that then your ears shut off.
Yeah.
I think that's a shut off frequency.
Yeah. The shut off frequency.
Yeah.
Eric, have you heard of the Salvaggio frequencies?
No.
I found this video and I started to learn, and this gets back into the monk situation as well. After that, we look at this quick video of the Salvaggio frequency, then we've got all the positive frequencies that you should be playing, which probably include a lot of Platinum Rock Legend songs.
Okay.
Here's the Salvaggio frequency.
Some call these frequencies the holy tones. Others refer to these distinctive sounds by their proper name, the solfeggio frequencies. At the heart of solfeggio frequencies is the belief that the vibrational signature of certain sounds, ranging from 174 Hz to 963 Hz, can highly impact our mental, physical, and spiritual health. So let's take a closer look at this mysterious phenomenon. The ancient solfeggio scale, known as just intonation, is renowned for its use in the Gregorian chants, but its history can be traced back to biblical times. The 6-tone scale, and an additional 3 tones discovered since, is considered by many musicologists and scientists to have a positive effect on the mind and body. Back in the 11th century, a Benedictine monk named Guido di Arezzo introduced the musical scale we now know as the solfeggio frequencies, though modern research contests that the scale dates back much further. The monks used the original 6 solfeggio notes in their Gregorian chants, which we now know consist of the frequencies 396, 417, 528, 639, 741, and 852 Hz. Unfortunately, by the 16th century, the scale was lost, though the exact cause is unknown. Some say the solfeggio was abandoned for a new music scale. Others argue that it disappeared among Western Europe's Middle Ages political and religious turmoil, and there are even some who posit some more, conspiratorial theories.
So here's the deal. You remember that movie? What was it? Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, I loved that movie.
That's how they communicated, was through music. It's universal. So the frequency
was that like the
remember,
dun, 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 dun.
Remember that?
Yes, that's
that's why we communicate now with outer space with frequencies, and we receive frequencies back. We just cannot explain them or where they come from.
And you can change if you
I
have a
love
brain
that.
chemistry problem. You can change it with frequencies.
Absolutely.
When
That's right.
like back in several years ago, 15 years ago, I had a carotid artery dissection. So my brain always sounded like it was an AM radio, and I couldn't get any neurologist to fix it. So I went to an institute that they changed the frequency in my brain, and it stopped like that.
Well, it is interesting to add on to this because I didn't know who Giuseppe Verdi was, but apparently he was a very popular Italian composer. He and the whole generation at that time, Eric and our viewers and listeners, tuned instruments to 432 hertz.
Yes.
But all of a sudden in 1939, everybody said, stop doing that from a music standpoint. And they decided to tune their instruments to 440.
Yeah.
And we asked Eric earlier, 440, and conspiracy theorists suggest, and there were thoughts that it was started by the Nazis and the Rockefellers because they understood what 440 did. And Eric, you were just explaining a little bit because once again, 440, it stimulates more aggression and anger in people, whatever 440 hertz does.
It's the A. If you play an A note.
The piano A.
Right in the middle of it. Actually, I think it's in this third octave. I can't remember. But if you play the note.
It's A4, and they say it vibrates at whatever a 440 CPS is. But I don't know what CPS
I don't know what CPS is, but it was like, but see, with that stuff, you have to be, it's not about a piano sound so much. It's about the actual vibration.
It's about the vibration.
Yeah, it's about
exactly.
It's
not about
the
the sound. It's about the vibration.
You're right. It's not the tone. It's not that. It's how it hits you and what happens once it hits you.
And you can buy machines that do this.
Now, I was going to ask you that.
I
was literally going to ask you that.
Remember when Kasia Staki joined us and she talked to us about her Healy machine?
Mm-hmm.
The Healy machine is something you can buy. It's around $400 or $500, and it allegedly heals you through frequency. So you wear it, and let's say if you're having a migraine, you turn it to the frequency to reduce pain or to get rid of your migraine, and then you wear it, and through vibration and frequency. Yes. It heals. And that's what a lot of the Solfeggio, whatever it's called.
The Solfeggio.
There's a different megahertz for reducing pain. There's one for influencing energy fields. There's the one that transforms and it's for change. There's one that's supposed to heal your DNA. There's frequencies for everything.
And it's not just sound. I don't know if you guys know, it's also visual.
Yes.
So it's like the frequency of these lights has a frequency, right?
Yes.
And so what they used to do back in the 80s, what the theory was, is they put soft white light on pink elephants in a jail cell to calm the prisoners down.
Well,
yes.
And
so that
the other story on that, Eric, that's a great point, is the University of Iowa was notorious. They had a locker room for visitors. It was all pink.
Well, it's
at the visitors' locker room was all pink to try to put them in that mood subconsciously that they're not going to go out and be aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's many people on our
that's been
chat
changed
line
now.
that's saying that they have the similar to what I was saying, where you have that in your brain that needs to be changed. And it's a pretty simple fix. It's not cheap because people charge you a lot of money, but they can change it with sound and exactly what you said, light. They will put light strobes up here and then have the frequency.
And if you've ever been to a massage parlor, and that you have the bells and whatever music,
yes, we're getting to that. That's so, Eric,
you can
right
literally bring down blood pressure. You can heal diseases.
That's why it's done.
Yeah,
I had no idea. That's why massage places can sound like they sound with some of that music. By the way, what's thought to be is if you can't sleep, you should listen at 3 hertz. I don't even know how to get to a 3 hertz.
I know
what 3 hertz would be.
I don't know, but I need to find it.
If you feel,
how do you do that?
There's an app for that.
Yeah,
There's an
we
app
talked
for-
about it. If
okay.
you feel anxiety, 432 hertz. 440, not so great, but 432 is if you feel anxiety. If you're weak, 528. If you have pain, 174. And low energy is 417.
And 528 is also, it helps you restore your DNA. 528,
Interesting.
I hear, is something that is very commonly used for a lot of different things.
Everything we're talking about on this, I believe.
So do I. I do
However,
I do too.
It's the guys that take it to that next level. Like they go, okay, guys, you really want to get nuts? How about some out of body experience type stuff?
Right.
Right. Where
Right.
they have like the four, not cameras, but the four speakers around you. And then they vibrate exactly the right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
That's
know.
the God frequency that we're getting ready to talk about.
Okay.
Well, it can be. Well, you know what? Where did we have the guy? Did you want to, go ahead and play
Money.
Yeah, the money frequency. Allegedly, this is the money frequency. And I found this on several different places and platforms.
420. Is that
the actual frequency right here? I hear cash register. Cha-ching, cha-ching. Does that sound like?
And then the
Wolf Boy?
TikTok one's the one that screws it all up.
And your money trail is gone.
Oh, it's almost $1 million in, and wow. TikTok
Amy
screws
tells
up.
us 420 is the weed frequency. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
So the money frequency. How about the one that we talked about, the God frequency? This is considered to be 963 hertz. And let's play the sound first before the singing, Joe. If you can pop up the sound, the 963, if you can hear the difference in that. It's the mind.
And then the TikTok stuff.
And then it does that. Boop.
But Eric,
That
I
is a
thought
good
about you on
sound.
this next one because this is an actual child singing at the God frequency level of 960
Oh.
of 963. So you get an idea of what it actually is.
Okay.
And it to me, when I heard this, it was angelic.
And I tell
Did
you
that
what,
give you goosebumps and literally like send your
Yeah.
brain to God?
When you
I mean,
start
that
to
was
think,
great.
when you I've heard that before, and I have a different outlook now that I know that where that octave is, if that's how you
Yes.
even say it, octave, and what that is or what it connotates to, as Eric talks about being our resident musician. Then I got chills when I
Me
was
too.
like, oh my
Well,
God.
you still are Catholic. I grew up Catholic, and that just reminds me of going to church.
does that bring back
And when
bad
my
memories?
good memories. When my
God.
stepfather was in the church choir,
Mm-hmm.
and we would go and we would listen, and his favorite song is Ave Maria.
Yeah.
And it
was
reminds me
beautiful.
of that.
But that sound,
funerals.
yes, Lizzie, I'm with you on that. Best quote of the day. I don't know who said it, but it said, could we pipe that music into downtown St. Louis at night?
Maybe they already are. Have you ever
Wait a
thought
minute.
about that?
Stop. Stop.
Maybe
That is a
they,
great idea.
Oh,
Maybe
great
they already
idea.
are. What do
Holy
you think?
crap, that's a great idea. But you know what? They
What do
would
you
just
think
shoot
all
out
these-
the speakers.
What do you think all these 5G boxes are for?
And that's something else I wanted to touch into.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
Maybe they already are, Eric.
Well, let's get to 5G.
But wait a second. are they piping in good stuff or bad stuff?
Bad stuff.
Bad
That's
stuff.
what my point is.
Bad stuff.
Eric's talking about good. I'm talking about good. The pure.
Because Eric
right.
wants to actually create solutions, but our government just wants to destroy us.
It's unfortunate, but music and sound, like it got me thinking, because when you hear a song that you like, it gives you instantaneous energy. It just does.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the walk-up music is so important to a baseball player.
Oh my God, I've never thought about it that way.
For sure.
Dude,
For
it
sure.
pumps you up. It pumps your ass up.
Yes.
And or when you see the players on the field with their beats on their head. Man, I'm telling you what, music is universal. You can communicate with music. The frequencies that I'm so interested in are the ones that the CIA uses because they know everything.
That's the ones
those
Tabitha
cats
knows about.
Yes.
Those cats know how to build the machine, to create the frequency, to get us to other places.
And you won't even know. Think about that. They could play frequencies to affect your mood, to affect your behavior, and you will never know because you cannot hear them all.
God, that is so crazy and scary. DRC says, yeah, I guess they're piping 440 hertz into St. Louis instead. LOL.
Yeah.
Robert says 5G frequencies can be dialed up or down, good or bad. And that's a scary thought when you think of what now we know about frequency and the groundwork we've laid.
That's right.
And now Tabitha's been talking about 5G for at least a year, going, people wake up to this 5G and what could and isn't happening. Lizzie, what hertz is Led Zeppelin?
I thought I need to find that out. Yeah, I need to find that out.
But there's also modes. I mean, when it comes to frequency in music, there's also modes. There's keys. There's other things that make you feel different things. But just being blasted with a frequency is what this is all about. I think it's like, the lower frequencies make you feel something. I'm totally into it. I don't subscribe to it. I don't do it, but I believe. If you want to calm yourself, there's a frequency. If you want money, there's a frequency.
I'm going to start doing the calm. Absolutely. After I've studied it and looked at it.
It's not, but it's also not. It worked. Look, it worked. Oh, I'm 20 minutes in. I'm rich. No,
it takes time.
Yeah, it's part of that meditative thing because the frequency works more on your brain than it does anything else.
Well,
and what does that say to you? It means the conscious and subconscious is a frequency.
Boom.
So it's resonating with another thing.
It takes time. That's like the healing machine. You have to wear it for a number of days.
Exactly.
2 weeks. You have to listen to the frequency. It's not like you can do it in
But you
one
also have to
session.
tell yourself it's working. You can't be skeptical of the experiment that you're in. You know what I'm saying?
And maybe we're all in an experiment because we have no idea what sounds are being pumped out into the community. Because we talked about Cuba earlier and causing illness, in some delegates that were there. What if they're experimenting on us on a larger scale? If not the whole country, in some areas.
The military developed big speakers that actually, they bring it out when people protest and they want to break up a protest. They fire these frequencies that make people feel sick and make them just want to get away.
It can be used for good, bad, deterrent, whatever be the case. But also, we also now, and I saw this, I don't know, probably 6 months to a year ago. So I'd saved it. It took me a while to find it because I knew there'd be a day where we'd show it. It works on plants, allegedly. You may have seen this video. I found it on TikTok or an Instagram reel of a gentleman explaining the story of how frequency is so important when it comes to farmers and plants. What do you guys think about this?
There's a guy in Iowa got curious, why do the birds start chirping an hour before sunrise? He found out the chirping of the birds is a frequency that helps open up the plant cells, stomata, on the bottom of the leaf, and it lets the plant start breathing in the morning. It helps set the alarm clock and wakes the plant up. He found out that frequency is found in music, classical music, quite a bit. So he started playing classical music to his cornfield. His neighbors thought, un poquito loco a la cabeza, he's a couple fries short of a Happy Meal, but until his corn grew 15 feet tall. And they said, what channel was that you're playing? When he played the music to his squash plants, they produced 5 squash per leaf instead of 1. He played it to his black walnut tree and it grew twice as fast as normal. Called Sonic Bloom. It's a combination of vitamins for the plant and special frequencies to open up the stomata.
So That is a true thing. A lot of people used to think that you could talk to plants and and the carbon dioxide in your lungs would help it to grow. They're finding now that if you talk to a plant nicely, you're loved. Look how beautiful you are. You are an amazing plant. That plant will flourish. If you talk to another plant like you suck balls, get the hell out of here. What are you doing a lot? Then the plants will have one will have a stunted growth and one will exceed its growth.
And you can see these videos of that online. And they've also done experiments. And I know I'm always looking at the negative side of things, but they can also kill plants with frequencies.
Yeah.
And a lot of people.
I wonder what music kills plants.
Yeah, it's just like a human
frequency. Yeah,
it's a living.
It's a living thing, and music, and sounds can heal or it can kill. And somebody brought this up on a video I watched, I don't know, 3 years ago, and they were talking about some type of warfare or socioeconomic warfare where countries were playing frequencies to kill crops in other countries.
Well, that goes back to
Robert says he talks very nicely to his wife every day and all night.
And she has grown like a little flower. That's true, man.
Sarah says music frequency changes the structure of water as well.
Yeah.
I can see that. I've seen the videos where high frequency, you put salt on a table and the different frequency, higher or lower, the salt goes to different shapes on the table as you go up and down.
Does any of this, as we're talking about this, speak to that? I don't know if you've seen it, the movie The Secret.
No, I haven't.
Not with vibration.
Anybody seen The Secret?
That's the power. That's about the power of positive thinking.
Okay.
Not frequencies. That's the power. It's true, and it works.
Man.
No, it absolutely works, but I don't think it's based on frequency or sound.
It's the love,
the thought. When you
that's called positive energy.
If you hit a guitar string, that was an action taken on that string, right? Which creates the vibration, correct?
Yes.
If you have a thought, that's the plectrum, the pick, hitting the string. You have created whatever that frequency is, right?
No.
Whether it's a low frequency or a high frequency, a positive frequency or a negative frequency. The brain doesn't really give a damn what you can produce whatever you want.
I think I understand what you're saying now, but I see those as two totally different.
I look at the human brain.
But the secret is actually true. That is actually,
no, the CIA. The reason I brought up the CIA is they have reports and studies of manipulating the human brain to be able to almost will things into existence.
Correct.
Yes. No question about
and
it.
You can
and
do
that's
that
frequency.
With children.
That's frequency. That's all. Energy is frequency, right?
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that, and that part of it makes sense. I still think of them as separate things.
I don't know.
Well,
it's energy,
but energy,
it's all energy,
but it's frequency.
But it's all energy.
But all energy is vibration, and vibration has a frequency, so they connect.
I have no doubt in my mind that if you think positive,
I mean, that's what
things,
Tesla said.
Absolutely, positive things come back to you. And if you're one of those negative people, or I call them aggressive drivers, those people on the highway, bad things happen to you.
And I always thought this too. There was a dimensional. I mean, we can take this thing really stupid.
Well, we got another area we can take it. Which this is something you've had a problem understanding in the past. You said your own words, because scientists recently discovered what Tabitha told us, that the frequency of clothing materials also affects. It can lower or it can higher our frequency. Wool worn on the body, allegedly, according to science and their scientific studies, lowers the frequency. Wool, of all things.
Yeah, it's muted. It's muted.
And you can go back to biblical days where Jewish law in Leviticus warned about not wearing mixed clothing because of the frequency.
And that's it's so weird that you brought that up. I saw it on our comment line last night because it reminded me of a guy that we had back when we were the war on COVID, way back in a couple years ago. We had a guy on from Drexel University who talked to us about clothing and tests that they were doing on masks and the material in the mask. And one thing that we learned—
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Well, one thing we learned in that interview was chiffon. Chiffon, it actually has an electric property and it repels viruses. And so, or different things. So if you wear chiffon, we see it as static electricity, with chiffon, but it also repels things. And they found through their testing that when you wore chiffon as a mask, that it repelled virus particles away from you. And, and they say that cotton and linen are the best fabrics to wear. as long as they're not dyed.
The ground has a frequency, apparently.
Well, it's called grounding.
That's a grounding.
So if you take your shoes off, walk around in the garden or whatever it is, you can do a lot of healing that way.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Jefferson said, he goes, there's two things I will not, he said, here's what I do when I get home. I go put my hands in the earth, gardening, and he has a glass of wine.
That makes sense.
He goes, that was his key to happiness.
People should absolutely walk around barefooted. We were not meant to wear material on the bottoms of our feet.
Well, there was an expert I studied on this, and I credit Robert, our viewer, for sending me some information about it. Literally in our day and age, because we know we have to wear shoes, but 20 minutes a day, if possible, on the ground, in the grass, outside, 20 minutes a day.
And as we talk,
I'm like, really? The frequencies of the body.
As we talk about this, you start to see how humans got away from true happiness. Do you not see that?
Yes, I do see that. Very much so.
Do you not see how humans were kind of meant to be in wilderness?
Yes.
Like animals. They were supposed to be tilling the field, making, farming and doing all this other stuff. And as we became more smart, quote unquote, we became more technologically advanced, more frequency with the silicon chips, with light bulbs, with power, with everything. We started surrounding ourselves with electronic devices, which don't you think that might have screwed some stuff up inside of there somewhere?
Because we are supposed to be one with the earth.
Right.
We need the sun.
Yes.
We need the ocean. We need the water. We need the ground. All of the elements that Mother Nature offers us as part of the earth, our bodies need.
Have you ever been to Walmart before and seen the blue light readers? So you put glasses on so that you don't.
Yes.
So this thing right here, the cell phone, is the worst thing you can stick in your face for hours on end every day.
That's very true.
It's so
or in your pocket.
Yeah, or in your pocket.
Yep.
It's literally so bad that if you go to Walmart, they have glasses that will take that blue ray out, which is destroying your brain and your vision.
There's actually scientific reports out there saying that using screens like this is causing evolutionary changes to your eyesight. Which is really wild to think about.
This is something I'd like on every day on the way here. I do not wear sunglasses, and I let the sun hit the retinas of my eyes.
Good for you.
My eyesight has improved, I swear.
Yes.
Because it's great. Because it's your body, it's forcing your body to do what your body does. I've read reports how sunglasses can actually hurt because it gives your body a fake idea of being safe. So when the eyes get covered, the body shuts down its defenses.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
It's like frequency.
The Death Star thinks everything's fine. We're going to take the shield down. There's no way the Jedis were coming to get us.
That was a good analogy.
Yep.
That was maybe the first good analogy he's ever done.
I never heard Vic do an analogy.
Yeah, that was
that I felt it.
Yeah.
And feel is frequency. If
you
feel
felt it with the vibration.
Yes.
I feel you, brother.
And
he could have even taken it farther, made the force be with you, which is frequency.
Boom.
And the earth.
Mm-hmm.
The earth. That's why you have to spend time in the sun.
Yes.
You have to spend time submerging yourself in natural water, not a bathtub. You have to be in an ocean or in a lake.
Well, what the hell?
Tab,
that's not possible for most humans.
Well, you have to make it possible.
No, she's right. She's
you have
right.
to make it possible.
I'm not jumping.
There is a creek, not the Mississippi. There are.
If you need to go get on a pontoon boat,
I want to see the next time I see Tabitha sitting in a St. Charles Creek.
I go. You know what? I get in the water as often. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be in Vandalia Lake tomorrow.
Good for you.
I get in the water.
Vandalia Lake.
I get in the water as often
where all the cool
as
people
I
go.
Disgusting. It's got barnacles.
I try to be in the sun as much as I can.
You know what? But I did, because I was a few years ago, I was feeling weird. I had what is called internal shingles, and that screwed everything up. And I was like thinking, and just the way that my mind thought, I go, you know what? How many people have you seen are really unhappy who live on the beach in Florida? They have everything. They got salt water. They have the beach. They have sunshine. They can get away from social media if they want to. There's recreational. The weather is always nice down there. How many truly unhappy people do you know that live on the beach in Florida. And I've always thought it was exactly what Tabitha said.
But there's a lot more to that. That's also wealth.
Maybe.
Because you have to be very wealthy to live on the beach.
No, I know.
Unless you're homeless.
No, not homeless, but you can go down there at a comfortable means and be happy. I will call 4 people right now and let you know.
That live on the beach?
Yes.
And like an RV or something?
Not an RV, but you don't have to have a 42,000 square foot house.
I get it.
I could live in an RV.
Money doesn't buy you happiness.
I never said that. I could live in a tent. I'm just saying that the beachfront area in Florida is very expensive. What were you saying,
seems
Joe?
logical to me because every time I go to Florida, I feel great.
Yes.
And you know what? And it's the
and when you come
sound.
back to this hellhole,
But don't you think it's
St.
also
Louis, Missouri,
it's also the sound?
Yeah. The sound.
The
what does that
sound.
mean?
Well, I have a friend who lives in California, very close to the ocean, like steps away from the ocean.
Yes.
And when I have stayed there,
frequency. There you go.
I
Ladies and
hear the
gentlemen,
ocean waves and the sound, and it's so soothing.
That's
to
the
me.
white noise that you would put on your iPhone at night to sleep.
Exactly.
Or the new money sound.
But we were meant to hear it in nature, but we have so much going on that we have to rely on
I say we move this show. Let's move this show right now to Sandestin, Florida.
I'm in.
Everybody, we had nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
I think we should move it. My friend has offered numerous times for us to come and do the show from
Sandestin.
Well, no, but it's
Sandestin is beautiful.
I mean, it's Alabama, but it's Gulf Shores.
Okay, well, I'll go to Gulf Shores. Let's
Key
go.
West is
Gulf
great.
Shores.
The
Key West.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
the Keys are beautiful.
They are beautiful.
One thing that I wanted to touch upon before I finished up that whole subject, Tabitha, you brought up the fabrics and the frequencies and cotton. Well, the human body has a frequency level of 100. So when you look at our body is 100. As Tabitha brought up, organic cotton, 100. Anything that is anything that you should stay away from anything under 100, if at all possible.
Anything, so much of our clothing is made with plastic these days.
And guess what we should not be wearing?
Polyester,
nylon, spandex. I've never worn bamboo. I don't know what bamboo is. And you should not ever, under any circumstance, wear clothes where wool and linen are mixed together.
Oh, wow.
The mixing of fabrics affects the frequencies as well, which goes to your overall health, which can eventually cause you to get sick.
That's right.
Isn't that weird to think about?
Hell yes, it's weird.
And that's why when you think about it, back in ancient days, what did they wear? They wore cotton tunics. They wore linen. If you go to Greece as an example, now you still see people wearing linen and cottons. And that is the only fabrics we really should be wearing is undyed natural cotton and linen.
Yeah. Polyester was so cool looking.
Polyester is plastic. And it leaks chemicals.
Itchy, though.
And it leaks chemicals into your body.
Yeah, but the 70s rocked with those big polyester shirts.
People looked cool.
Yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What are you
What about spandex? Is that all right?
No,
I'm screwed.
Well, I started thinking about athletes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And dry fit and all of the new fake materials that work. And I'm like, oh, is that going to be something we want? Lizzie, what are you talking about? Birth sign information.
Oh,
What is that?
Somebody on YouTube is talking about DRC says your birth sign also says what areas that your natural balance is.
What do you mean natural balance?
Well, I don't. That's why I was
frequency.
Well, no, I don't think that's what they were talking about. I was just answering to someone, but they were talking about the ocean and that sort of thing and going to Florida
Your birth sign.
and that your birth sign will tell you where you should live.
Think about it, guys. Think about where the most unhappy places in the country are. New York City.
For sure.
I don't care what you say. Yeah, you can say the nightlife is amazing.
Did you say
and great.
New York City people are the happiest people? I think they're the angriest people.
I just said they're miserable.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
They're even though they say, "Look, I live in the best city in the world." Yeah, look at the sound you're around.
Yes,
look at how disgusting it is. Look at the environment, the frequency. I'm only doing this in compare and contrast. St. Louis is kind of that gray city. Also, it's. I don't think people are as nervous in it as they are in New York, but St. Louis is part of that kind of.
I'm glad you brought that up.
But look
the
at
gray aspect.
Yeah, gray. I think that's a good word for it. Then you might want to look at where to live to make you happy. Correct. Sunshine, water,
correct.
The right sound waves, right? The right ways that you're being hit with sound. Industrial sounds. If you are around industrial sounds all day long, that 60 cycle hum, you're screwed.
Yep.
Get away from it now.
Because there's nothing more peaceful, in my opinion, than being on the beach, or being somewhere like in Colorado.
Yes.
Where you're walking in the mountains and it's pretty, it's green and it's lush and you have your fresh air. And Eric, I know you know this because you've done it so often, but every time I fly, let's say to California or to Florida or somewhere that's very beautiful and green, and then I fly back into St. Louis, it's so depressing to me because people don't realize how beautiful and green it is in other areas. And then you come into the city of St. Louis and it's so gray and it's so depressing looking.
Yes.
And you know what? Think about this and the people who have to live in that environment who've never experienced the lush green or the beautiful ocean.
And that's the
I think those are extras. So you can be content.
No, you
wherever
can't.
live.
No, I don't think you can. I don't think because I remember Los Angeles back in the day. There was something, the palm trees going down Sunset. The people were cooler. They just were.
Weather, yes.
It was cleaner. You were always kind of close to the beach. They have made Los Angeles. They have screwed with the frequency of that place
for sure.
And you don't feel safe anymore. You don't feel like you really want to go do anything anymore. It's a weird vibe now.
The city of Los Angeles.
Yes.
Think about San Francisco. Way back in the day,
Yeah.
you could go there and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And now
St.
it's
Louis,
cesspool.
St. Louis was the same way. You had the Mississippi River at your disposal.
Yes.
There was that water vein here. It was nicer. We took care of it. The frequency was better, and then they just let it go to hell.
The frequency must be good at Lake of the Ozarks because during the sea, people went there to escape.
But they got to protect that as well.
They do have to protect
because there's places that are becoming dilapidated there as well.
Yes,
you have to be real careful about that stuff. I'm just saying, if you're depressed, Vic, Tabitha, if you're like, I'm on my last leg, I got to call suicide hotline or
my Lord,
or I'm going to go get a U-Haul for $400 and you find yourself down to a place that's sunshine, water, right?
I think so.
Put your feet in the sand, and you'll come out of it.
Why do you think, though, so many people, I know this is a weird thing to say, commit suicide in the woods? It's true. It's a fact. They find so many people who have committed suicide in a park and in the woods. And they say, at least I've heard psychologists explain it, because walking through the woods, walking through a forest is one of the most peaceful things you can do in human nature, is walk through a quiet, peaceful forest. And it said, for whatever reason, so many people choose that as their place to end their life.
You know what will avoid suicide today, everybody? You need to just get whatever thing you want to drink and listen to the Zach Brown Band where he talks about the water and all that stuff that you're talking about. You'll instantly get in a good mood.
No, it makes sense. But I can tell you this, after doing research and learning about some of these issues from Eric and Tabitha first, when I did that deep dive, I'm looking at classical music more. I'm not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Those higher frequencies, I started listening to them this week. And the whole clothing aspect, literally on this show, and Derek Pratt, who deals with marketing and clothing, he says you've got to, his opinion is stay away from Under Armour. He says they're made with the worst materials possible. I'm thinking about from a sports standpoint, what are kids into, all the spandex, the dry fits. If you can stay to cotton, my gosh.
Well, they got that.
Now my mind is on fire.
They have that Tommy Copper stuff, and it's copper infused.
Yes.
So why do you think they do that?
But copper is supposed to be very good for you.
Correct.
Right. That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Why.
It's like, why should I be wearing
I'm
copper?
gonna definitely get some of those copper boxers.
Yeah.
I know my son's father wore a copper bracelet.
I'm glad you laughed, Lizzie. I was looking for something. Eric and I are like, yeah, baby.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah.
It's like, what's the problem? We'll take whatever help we can get.
Copper me.
Go ahead, Tabitha. Retort. Never mind.
I think you should both do it.
Yeah, baby. Line me in copper.
So Drew Collins on here, which we like very much, says that everything we're talking about is BS.
But he loves us that he comes on every single day and tells us how we're full of crap every day.
Yeah. It's I would love to meet Drew and just say, dog, let's sit down here and talk some things out. Because
prophylactics.
he needs water. He needs to be by some water.
Yeah.
Yes,
but he might be happy. I think there's also, and I don't know how this would work, if we're miserable in what Tabitha calls a gray city, kind of
yep.
There are people that have the ability to be happy in dark, dank cities
Well,
like
if, that,
Chicago.
if you're born and that's all you know, maybe so. But at the same time, don't you also think that, let's just say, if you took, just as an example, downtown St. Louis, some of our worst areas, which are dilapidated buildings and, concrete, and they call it sometimes like a concrete jungle in some cities. And just think, if you put in trees and gardens and different things like that, don't you think that that would change how people feel and the way they wake up in the morning?
It could. Yeah, it could.
Just look at Miami. Some of the skyscrapers that they actually have plant life growing off of their skyscraper.
There was a place speaking of frequencies, there was this device that companies would put into their offices, and it would negate the negative frequencies. And do you ever see those things? They're they look like little white buckets that are just hanging from the ceiling.
No.
And most office buildings will create a sound. And so they'll put these things in the offices to negate
I get it. I
that
understand
sound.
why.
So they create
I've never seen it.
So they create a frequency to offset the bad frequency.
Yes.
You're
I've
gonna
worked in a
love going into work.
I've worked in a building when I was really young where they piped white noise through the building.
Same thing.
And then there's also, I've heard, I've not experienced it myself, I've not worked in a call center, but I've heard that some call centers pipe in frequencies to make people more frantic, where they take more calls and they're more productive.
And that's evil.
See that too.
That's evil.
But that is evil.
Man, if you're going to do work, you put on Beethoven, Mozart, Chopin, you put on Vivaldi, and your brain will focus. It's like Ritalin or Adderall. And all of a sudden you don't even know why you're working better. And it's a beautiful thing.
Eric, that's so funny. Before we get out here today, I went over to a friend's house to study in 7th grade, and his mom insisted that classical music was on in the background. And I never thought about it, but he ended up being the salutatorian of Pattonville High School. Now, I didn't go to that high school, but he did. I mean, I was like, I wonder if there was something behind that.
I'm sure there was.
There you go.
But it is good. I need to clear that up. Aaron says, is it bad to listen to us while they're working? That's the best frequency ever. So if you're working and you've got cancel on in the background, you're going to be very productive.
So I would say this. I'm going to be just straight up. Hip hop music creates the environment that it creates.
Correct.
Yes, it does.
Rock music creates the environment that it creates. Classical music creates the environment. Jazz, it makes you a little frantic. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, because those are some weird 12 tonal notes.
Oh, wow. DRC says we used to play classical music for our babies when they went down for naps.
Yes,
absolutely.
I did with all of mine.
Makes
Even
sense.
put the classical, took a Walkman and put it on my belly the whole time I was
Yes,
pregnant, and then
Pam
played
knew
it.
who Vivaldi was.
Vivaldi.
Oh,
Vivaldi.
Pam, that's great.
On the violin.
Yes.
Okay, and here we go. Mary puts it back into perspective. No, I'm not even going to read it, Mary. I'm sorry. We're going to leave out here in peaceful sound.
Well, no. Let's go nuts.
Joe Biden's voice takes all the peace away. Blood
That
pressure
isn't
as
that
well.
It does.
And we're back to cancel this.
Yes, for sure.
We had to get it, Tabitha.
Tabitha, that sound does not rile me up at all. I will say that right now.
Lizzie,
I
can you
can't
promote?
even remember why that even started.
Thanks to Jill Reynolds for joining us today. We'll get Jay Ashcroft back on next week. He apologized, by the way. He said that it wasn't working while they were moving in their vehicle. So
Makes
that's
sense.
fine. Can you promote Eric's deal tomorrow night, since he won't?
I can. I would be happy to. So I would love to see a huge cancel this group there. Get there early. His event starts at 7:00 in Cottleville. If you're in the St. Louis area, at Frankie Martin's Garden, you could bring a golf cart. You can bring chairs, but come early. It starts at 7. We can really cheer really loud. And so when Eric comes out, let's whistle, let's scream, and send all kinds of noises his way. It'll
And
be fun.
if you want to head the other way, you can head to Vandalia and sit in the creek with Tabitha.
Yes.
It's a lake.
Yes. It's a lake. It's a lake. Very good.
I will be one with the earth.
I
love it.
Just don't
Tabitha.
pee in it.
No, she'll
You,
be.
you can pee in that. Just
I
don't
can't pee in a
the
lake.
pool.
You can pee in a river, as long as they're downstream.
Correct. Y'all can come to my house too, but don't pee in the pool.
For Pro Joe, Lizzie Sparks, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel, I'm Vic Faust. Guys, have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us. And remember to share the show. Let people know about us. If you know of any partnerships or people that want to get with us, let us know. Have a great Friday for this June 23rd podcast.